Joining us now, it's Bryan Hayes and Martin Biron. So, Bryan, Mitch Marner said, obviously, we're looked upon here as sort of gods. He must like life as a god. He also said he wants to be with the Leafs long term. He's eligible to sign the extension as of July 1st, but should the Leafs even be exploring this as an option right now?
Absolutely not. You can't do it. It's got to come to an end for a couple of different reasons. From a philosophical team-building standpoint, the cap system alone, it's been concluded here. The jury's in. This doesn't work anymore. You can't load up on 3 or 4 skilled forwards and expect it to lead to playoff success. It doesn't. And unfortunately for Marner, he's the odd man out. They've committed to Matthews. They've committed to Nylander. I'm not including Tavares here because Tavares' deal is going to play out, and then that's it. Everyone knows he's not making that kind of money. I'm not sure he has a future with the team beyond this year. But I don't believe from a team-building standpoint you can even entertain the idea of bringing Marner back. And secondly, from his own standpoint, he asked for the world 5 years ago. He wasn't wrong in doing that. He was a restricted free agent. He asked for it. They gave it to him. When you ask for the world and they give you the world, you better supply the world. He has not done that. You look at the way he just played in the playoffs, the way he played against Florida in the playoffs last year. He has been vastly overpaid since the second he signed that deal. And the next contract is going to start at $10.9 million per year, which means he'll be vastly overpaid in the future. You cannot do it. The Leafs have got to move.
Yeah, it's for a team that scores so much in the regular season. It's baffling year after year. Their biggest problem in the playoffs is lack of goal scoring. Marty, what do you think about bringing the core 4 back for another go?
Well, I don't think it's going to happen, and I'm with Bryan on this one. I think that you look at Austin Matthews going to start his extension, 5-year extension. He's not going anywhere. Nylander is starting his 8-year extension. He's not going anywhere. The captain, John Tavares, even if you don't think he's giving you $11 million worth of what he's doing, well, if you buy him out, it's going to cost you 10.3 anyway on the cap, so might as well have him for 1 year being your captain, your veteran leader, and just get 1 year out of the way. So it leaves you with Mitch Marner. But all of those guys have no movement clause. And if they don't want to go anywhere, they don't have to go anywhere. And that's the problem with no movement clauses. You had 12 guys this year on the Leafs that were in the 20-man rotation that had no move, no trade, modify no trades. That's an issue. So, yeah, do I think that the Leafs have to move out of the core 4? Absolutely. You saw what Domi was able to bring. You saw what Bertuzzi was able to bring. You see what Matthew Nyes is going to bring. You can go and find players elsewhere, free agent. You can even make trades, right, and bring back some value. But you cannot go back and roll back the core 4 the way that it is right now. And the only one that I see being able to be moved is Mitch Marner. Now, you may want to go out and say what the Uncle Lou Lamoriello would do. Hey, I don't care if you have a no move. We're going to move you, or you're going to be sitting, and I don't care if that's what needs to happen. You may have to do that. It's going to be hard, but you have to do something. You have to make something happen so you can move away and bring back some different look next year.
Yeah, some tough decisions to be made. And Brian, Sheldon Keefe, the rumors around him are swirling as well that he could be on the way out. Do you think the Leafs need a change here behind the bench?
Yeah, I do. I think they need a change basically up and down the organization, quite frankly. I think what Marty just said, he referenced Lou Lamoriello. I would reference the Vegas Golden Knights. They are ruthless. It's long overdue. That's the way the Maple Leafs approach it. Stanley Cups. This team never talks about Stanley Cups. They talk about progress and being real close. Real close to what? Winning a round? Winning 2 rounds? Talk about the elephant in the room. Stanley Cup. It's been 57 years. It's time to get ruthless. Sheldon Keefe, he's going to be the obvious move. I'd be shocked if they brought him back. That's said. I said that a year ago. Yeah. So who knows?
They signed him to an extension.
And they signed him to an extension. If Shanahan's still here, then maybe Keefe does return. Maybe the core 4 does return. But turnover at the coaching position in the NHL is natural. It happens all the time. A lot of times too often. He's had a long time here. He's been here 5 years. That's an eternity in the coaching position. He has not been able to get it done. We just saw what happened against Boston. Special teams, them not being able to break the neutral zone down. The way they played Game 1, Game 4. They're going to find someone else, but they got to find a winner. They got to find a head coach who's won at the NHL level, and I think they need an attitude change and a different approach. They need to turn the page on the previous window because that window is closed. They need to open a new one, and I think it probably does start behind the bench.
All right, so we've covered the core 4. We've covered the coach. Marty, how about the goaltending, specifically Ilya Samsonov? He's an unrestricted free agent, said he loves the city and the team. Any interest in running it back with the Samsonov-Wall tandem?
For me, I don't have interest in that. And I understand that Joseph Woll, for me, is going to be the guy you're going to hand the keys to next year. Still has a year left. making less than $1 million. So you have some money at the goaltending position to spend, but what you have to look for, Samsonov performed well enough to say I'd bring him back if it was just the performances. But the injury status that Samsonov has had to deal with now over the last few years, and you combine that to Joseph Woll, you have 2 question marks. You can't have that. You have to have somebody, and I know injuries can happen anytime, but you have to have somebody that has a track record of being healthy, being there for 82 games, and then so if Joseph Woll was to go down with an injury, you have somebody that you can rely upon. You can't go where both goaltenders are going to get hurt. You're going to dip into your Marley's goaltending depth. You're going to bring somebody unknown. No, this team needs to win and win now. I think Woll is taking a step forward this year. That's great. But unfortunately, Samsonov, the performances and the injuries, I put them together. I say you move on from that. Now, if you want to come back at $1.5 million, $2 million, okay, it's going to cost you very little for the 2. But I don't think that's going to happen. You got to start looking elsewhere.
The coming days and weeks ahead in Leafland, as always, going to be quite interesting. The Leafs would have started round 2 tonight in Florida. Instead, it's the Bruins and Panthers, and they'll drop the puck in a couple of hours. Thanks, guys.